Hi, I'm Anthony with DTG Printer Parts. We're just going to go over today a few things that you need to know when running your machine. You've got your cartridges here. At the start of the day, you definitely need to agitate your whites. So you'll need to pop the tops off first and then set aside. And when you set them aside, at least, put them on some type of lint-free cloth. And the reason why you put or pull the tops off is to relieve the pressure in the cartridges. You put them back on and then you eject the cartridge. So that's what we'll do. We'll just do one for now. And as you can see, there's some air that popped out. If you don't do this, then ink on the other part of the cartridge spills out. You can see that this one didn't have any spillage. I'll do it to this one just to prove a point. There is some right here. Sometimes you'll get a little bit more than usual. So I pull that out. I also want to wipe this area if there's any excess, so it doesn't dry and doesn't get inside the cartridge. We'll do it with this one. Okay, and then you just want to wipe any excess ink off. Okay, now normally people would want to shake the cartridges. You definitely do not want to do that, and the reason is because of this filter inside the cartridge. If you shake violently and get ink inside this filter, it can restrict ink flow. So definitely don't want to do that. So the way that you agitate is just rock back and forth for about a minute. Okay. As you can see, there's a minimum and maximum where you can fill the ink. Don't want to go below minimum, and you actually don't want to go about a quarter of an inch or under a quarter of an inch away from the minimum, because at this point you start to get ink flow restriction. You definitely don't want to pour over the max, because as we know, when we do this at the beginning of the day, if you poured over the max, you're definitely going to get some ink inside that filter. So you definitely want to be cautious when doing this. Okay, so we can put the cartridges back in. Also, if you have not used the printer for about 4 or 5 days, you want to make sure that you agitate more than usual, because as you can see at the bottom, there could be a potential for buildup white, and the more buildup that you have, the less that you've used your machine, the more that the white ink gets stuck at the bottom. And as you can see, the travel path is very small, so you need to be aware that the ink can get stuck here as well if not agitated well. If you leave your printer sitting for a long period of time, you should probably consider flushing out the printer. That leads us to the next part of this video, which is when to use Purple Hammer. Some people use it twice a week, which I recommend, just to keep the whites clean from the printhead. But I recommend any other time you're using the wet cap solution, just because it's gentle on the printhead and not really aggressive. You don't need to use Purple Hammer every day. The orange solution is our non-aggressive solution, which you'll use to flush the printer. So you can also use this as a wet cap solution, just don't use it every day. Also, the last part of our video is basically going over the chip reset. During operation, the printer will tell you that a cartridge needs to be reset. Normally, you would press this, and then I've noticed that some users take it out all the way and put it back in, which really isn't a good idea. You just need to press this gray tab to eject a little bit and then push it back in immediately. Don't wait for too long, and you don't need to shove it in. So these are just the key points that I would like to point out when using your machine, so that you can be aware of how to take care of the white, the chip reset, and that you can also get spillage on the end if you don't pull the top off first. Also, you can see here we have some spillage off the side. So just be aware of these things, and also to remind you about the filter. This is very important. I also recommend don't filling up to the max, just a little bit before, and that would take care of any worry that you have about overfilling. And you can also fill too low. Even though there is a minimum, remember that you should at least have the cartridge near halfway to stop any restriction of ink flow, so you keep printing without any issues. If you have any questions, feel free to give us a call or contact us by email, and subscribe to our YouTube channel.